Oh, Hawaii land lovers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. How's everyone? It's Saturday. It's Saturday, April 26th, 2025. The night is long and full of terrors, as usual. Yeah, it's Rosewater time. It seems likely that we will finish playing Rosewater today. I don't know what to make of that. My impression of this game has changed dramatically over the past like four streams of like strongly positive to like mostly positive with concerns to like not as strongly positive to kind of negative to like fairly negative. Computer needs to be appeased with blood sacrifices. No, listen. Anyone who tells you that their streaming technology works consistently 100% of the time is lying or a witch. Those are the only options. No matter what you do, all streaming technology is non-deterministic, which may or may not support the like arcane ritual implications that like there is something that you have to do. Uh, Kalarishatal. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. I apologize that I probably did not pronounce that well. I have real trouble parsing names that don't have capital letters to tell me where the syllables go because I'm super smart. But welcome. Hello. Um, Let me do usually on Saturday streams because I normally stream Friday and Saturday. Normally I talk a ton on Friday before gaming, and then I run out of things to say on Saturday because I'm not that interesting. Kale, welcome, Kale. I do believe we've seen you here before, and I'm pretty sure I butchered the pronunciation last time too. Welcome. So yeah, let's hop over to the game. I have to click, don't I? There it is. So glad I set that up for me. Here's that ominous sound effect you all know and love from the holding screen. I don't know if this is a timed section. We'll see if it blows up like Maniac Mansion or something like that. Made it. You did. Just welcome. You're just in time because I ain't got much to say other than recap, and the recap starts now. We're playing Rosewater. For those of you who haven't joined us before or have only seen part of this game, I'll try to summarize as briefly as I can. This game started with our female protagonist, Harley Leger, heading out to a town in the alternate history frontier Wild West times. She was looking for a job as a writer, which has been largely inconsequential to the plot. Don't ask questions. It was sort of a means to introduce her to a guy named Gentleman Jake, who was sort of a Wild West performer and con man of sorts. And together with him, he sort of let us know of a significant figure in the history of this alternate history world, who was also mentioned in this game's spiritual predecessor, known as Lamplight City. Basically, there are scientific advancements in work that make this into more of like a steampunk world, drawing aethericity, a non-electrical energy that's still based in the atmosphere. But he had an exhibition go wrong, and like something like a dozen people died. And that guy went into hiding, but had some like government grant money that was allegedly unaccounted for. And this dude's like, hey, if we find his old lab, which was supposedly out here in the wilderness somewhere, then like we could just take his gold and it'll be like a super cool adventure. And it didn't turn out that there was gold there, and it wasn't a particularly super cool adventure. We managed to find evidence that suggested he actually left the frontier and came to El Presidio, the city in which we are now located, although currently we've dislocated ourselves slightly to an adjacent island. More on that later. So we took a road trip where almost nothing mattered, and it took like 5 streams. Am I a little bitter about that? Maybe. But we could talk more about that later. Most of what happened didn't matter up until we neared the end of the adventure, and Jake sort of turned tail and bravely ran away when we were confronted with a dangerous situation. And that dangerous situation injured one of our other companions, leaving us with Danny, his sort of like trainee in the wild wilderness showmanship, and Phil here, who is like a revolutionary from not Mexico. I don't remember what not Mexico is called in this world. the name I don't think has been mentioned more than like 3 times, and also, I'm an idiot. So, once we got to the city, we were summoned by a mysterious person who was like, yeah, so I had hired Jack to, like, bring me that scientist, and I don't know anything about this alleged lost gold. I don't know what he was on about. But listen, I'll pay you money if you do his job. And so we decided we had nothing better to do and decided to try and help this petroleum executive procure this, like, alternate energy source scientist. And that led us to this island near El Presidio, but not in El Presidio. And we lied and conned our way inside. And we more or less just witnessed a demonstration of like a steampunk laser pistol that can vaporize things and leave like an after image shadow, like a nuclear bomb. It's all very concerning. So yeah, I think our current goal here in Dexter's laboratory is to distract his 2 assistants and like probably, like, I don't know that it's been stated explicitly by any of our characters that we're trying to obtain the pistol, but I feel like we should deal with the pistol. It seems very dangerous. But like, I guess we're still trying to get the scientist to leave, and I don't know, I got a sneaking suspicion that oil lady's just gonna shoot him dead. I know she's like, oh, I'm just gonna change my business model and be at the forefront of technology, but like, even though it's an alternate history, like, we all know what goes on with oil companies, right? Like, it's not cool stuff. We could drop the entire cult plot line, it'd be so much better. I mean, I feel like you may be intentionally or unintentionally conflating the cult and the Jolly Good Club, which are both cult-like organizations, but in different ways. The one that had, like, the really cult tendencies was, like, the Workmen's Guilds. That wasn't a lot of fun. And then that gave us access to the Jolly Good Club, which was considerably unfun. A legal distinction. All that being said, I will summarize my opinions thus far on this game that it had a lot of potential, and now that I think we're near the end, I'm less convinced that we've executed on that potential, which has left me more frustrated than if this game was kind of okay. Because that's kind of how I tend to react to things that have a lot of potential and disappoint, is that I get extra mad at them. See also Zero Time Dilemma and the movie Looper. Okay. Everybody, yeah, 3 cults and 3 streams. That's actually, I think that Matthew is right. Because we definitely had a cult town made out of a Zeppelin, and then those 2 cults were like back-to-back last stream. Anyway, recap completed. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Kale and Cotillion and Justin and Demolition, and of course my mom in chat. Hi, Mom. So we took a look around this laboratory at the end of the last stream. We've been mostly everywhere, but what we haven't done yet is talk to this guy. We do need a way to deal with the assistant who's in the gun lab, because she's stopping us from, like, kidnapping the scientist and sabotaging science. But I think this guy might hold the answers, because otherwise we don't have a lot of leads right now.
Hey, can we talk?
Sure. What's on your mind?
The humming. We're all hearing that, right? That's not just the energy cancer. How long have you been down here, buddy?
Have you been down here long?
Come here often?
About 7 months, I think. Without any sunlight, you really lose all sense of time. Sometimes it feels like decades.
You might have contracted Radical 6.
No sunlight? You mean you never go outside?
No, of course not. Is this some kind of test? The terms were made very clear when we signed onto this project. We don't break protocol. I do really miss the sun, though. Sometimes I feel like a mushroom down here.
Just to be clear, was the protocol specifically not to look at the sun? Or was it just that we live down here? Because the second one sounds like a more normal thing to write into a contract, but he makes it sound a little more like the first thing.
How did you become interested in etheric research?
I was already a researcher when I met Dr. Clark, but my field was chemistry. I had dabbled some with etheric experiments after hearing about Clark's research.
I wanted to kill people with a laser gun.
I knew I wanted to work with him.
That's...
Despite what happened. After
That's
the dust
concerning.
settled, I approached him about taking me on as an assistant. I got the feeling he was just surprised to still have any support.
I mean, his last assistant did get vaporized. Didn't something bad happen to him? Didn't he have an assistant back at the desert lab that also had a bad fate? Or am I just conflating that with the idea that stuff went bad before he went to the desert?
Don't you ever get bored here?
Sure, all the time. We've got books, but I've read them all. This is my third time through this one. At least this phase of the project's near completion. Maybe we'll get some time up top before the next one.
Or maybe we'll vaporize someone with a laser gun.
Never would have dreamed there was a whole secret facility hidden under this rock in the middle of the bay. Who built it anyway?
The military.
The dozers.
Had to be someone with very deep pockets. Everything was already in place before they moved us in.
What are your thoughts on Project Rosewater?
Honestly,
Smells nice.
I try not to think about it too much. We're doing important scientific research. I can't deny that. Just because our focus is on weapons doesn't mean our results can't be used for other applications.
Yeah, but it kind of means that they're not going to be, at least in the short term.
How do you like working with Dr. Clark?
It has its moments, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't stressful. He gets wound up sometimes, which I understand. But other times he picks strange things to get cross about.
Like what?
Well, his biggest bugbear is food in the testing chamber.
There we go.
I made the mistake of taking my lunch in there once, and he just about had a conniption. Cleanliness is one thing, but this is a whole other level.
So if we hide a sandwich in his lady assistant's pocket, then he'll banish her from the lab in a fit of clean rage. Is that something?
So Clark dislikes food in the testing chamber, does he?
Dislikes, more like detests.
More like double plus ungood. Oh, this is how you know something is important in an adventure game, just in case you're not terribly familiar with adventure games. Normally, the dialogue option goes away forever. But if you need it to complete the game, oftentimes you can just keep asking
So
it.
Clark dislikes food in the testing chamber, does he?
Dislikes, more like detests.
Know anything about General Laporte?
I saw him once, right at the start of the project. Didn't talk to him. He seemed kind of intense. He's the one running the show, as far as I can tell. Beyond that, the man's a total mystery.
So Clark dislikes food in the testing chamber, does he?
Dislikes, more like detests.
Sorry, I
Okay.
derive
Bye.
strange pleasure from, like, repeating lines of dialogue in games like this because it feels like it violates social norms in a way that amuses me. Like, I feel like I reference this a lot, but, like, when there's, like, goofy dialogue options in adventure games, I really like to imagine what it would be like to be in a conversation and behave that way. Incidentally, anyone here a fan of The Rehearsal? Because I just, like an hour ago, watched the first episode of the second season, and man, oh, I love that show so much. It's so bizarre. This is food. I assume I can take some now, maybe? I don't know.
These tomatoes are thriving. Must be all the exposure to ethericity.
Oh no, I have a banana. Hey, it's a banana in my pocket that we haven't found any use for, of course. I go back in the testing chamber and put a banana in her pocket, and then he won't be happy to see her.
She's busy. She's busy.
She doesn't take anything in with her, huh?
Clark will see me. Clark will
Can I just give him a banana?
Get that out of here. No foodstuffs of any kind in the testing chamber.
Got it. I'll just stand here and make no change. That's what you wanted, right?
She's busy. Clark will...
How do I draw his attention away? Like, this feels like a general problem that needs to be addressed. This isn't the type of game where I could switch between characters. Otherwise, it'd be pretty trivial to have, like, Phil start a conversation with him, and then I put my banana wherever it needs to go. Don't read into it. Don't take that out of context. Maybe put it on her head like a headband. You're right, it could also be a hat. That's definitely true. Do you want a banana, Phil?
No, thank you. I do not care for bananas.
You're just saying that because it's red and concerning.
I don't think I'm allowed in there. At least, not while there's someone watching.
How... If I can't, like, mess with her, and I can't talk... I'll try talking to her again, but yesterday it was not letting me talk to her. I don't know how I'd interact with her to get access to the room or, like, get her in trouble.
Pardon me.
Sorry, can't talk right now. If you've got any questions...
Yeah, that was sort of the experience yesterday, huh?
I haven't got any questions for the good doctor.
What if I put a banana on a string? No, that's nothing? Apparently that's nothing.
Looks like some...
It's frustrating that it feels like there's nothing that I can interact with in here. It makes it hard to know how to, like, start doing anything. At least I have a lead. Maybe if I talk to these guys, they'll tell me that they have secret items in their pockets, because this game likes doing that.
Can't think of anything to ask.
Or maybe I can just say, hey, Danny, is it going all right? And he's like, yeah, okay. And then we all just move on with our lives.
All right there, Danny?
Yep.
Yeah, that one. For some reason, he gets a slightly nicer line of dialogue, other than, like, can't think of what I would say to that loser. So I got, like, electrical wires for their not microwave. And I have a wood carving of a coyote. And a red banana. And some reading material. And, like, some things I could have sold to the shop that I decided to hold on to. And a beaker and a weird computer card that got me in the elevator. It's not, like, a lot to go on, is my sort of assessment. I guess I didn't take a close look at whatever.
Indication of time down here.
Great, very helpful. There wasn't anything in here that it wanted me to access.
Just some clothes and a couple of storage boxes. The lab assistants share a room? Not sure if that's progressive or scandalous.
Probably closer to scandalous. Probably closest to just sort of, like, cost-cutting and inconvenient.
There's a card slot next to the door. Seems to be locked.
The slot is locked?
There's no handle.
Never watched Below Deck. I think personally I've seen, like, an
Doesn't
episode
fit.
of it. I know my parents watch it. My mom
And
will
a gear
understand that
generator.
reference.
It's big and loud.
Try the banana in the shared quarters? That sounds scandalous.
That won't go in the slot.
Explain why my banana won't go in the slot. Stop trying to take everything out of context.
go.
Everyone should calm down. Can I just, like, take this money and run?
Bars of aurum.
Yikes
Lots of them.
forever.
It's annoying how many, like, panels and things there are around that, like, don't do anything. Because, like, it feels like there should be some kind of, like, Myst-esque puzzle where I can, like, mess with a device or something. Because there's just so many of them.
Controls.
Like... No, I can't really do anything. And I don't think I can leave, but even if I could, I'd still be stuck on the island, so I don't know what that would do for me. Didn't spend a lot of time in here. There's a door I can't open. There's a lamp.
Never seen a lamp glow green before.
It is rather eerie.
Looked at the box. That's the exit.
There's a metal panel covering part of this contraption.
Is that where I would put the key card?
This contraption has a keypad instead of a slot. It must need a code.
That's not ideal.
Nothing.
Yeah, kind of figured based on that new information. Can't talk into the thing, the lever doesn't do anything, panel's blocking something, I don't have a code for the keypad, so this room seems unhelpful. Oh, let me just open the elevator door.
There's no way to open it manually. It's controlled by that lever.
Spoiler alert, there are a lot of inappropriately shared quarters on Below Deck. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the one episode I saw that was true. And it didn't seem like that was new information. But I mean, like, what else you gonna do on a boat? I think is like an important takeaway. I need like an inn here. I don't feel like I have a place to start. There's like no new information. I can't like open anything.
Not while Clark's around.
I can't like mess with her notes. I can't mess with his computer. That doesn't make any sense.
She's written some notes, but I have no idea what they mean.
Obviously can't do anything with the laser.
This is Project Rosewater.
Does he say anything different in here? Does Phil say anything different in here?
Hey.
Oh. Yeah, he does. I feel like I tried this before.
Think you might occupy Dr. Clark's attention for a few minutes?
Of course. I can be very engaging after all.
I've never seen it. That would be new information
Dr.
to me.
Clark, may I have a moment?
Yes, what is it?
Now that he's looking firmly in this direction, let me like mess with the cabinet that's also in this direction.
Desk. She's looks like some flashing lights and other displays. I can't tell if it means something or is just meant to look pretty.
That's so weird. That's so janky.
Hey.
I think I know what it wants me to do. I'm gonna wait until she comes back in here, and then do it, and then follow her in there, which it shouldn't let me do, because I don't know what... Like, that seems dangerous.
Think you might occupy Dr. Clark's attention for a few minutes?
Of course. Dr. Clark.
I almost timed that perfectly.
I don't think
No one's... Hey, no one's watching. Hey, just want to be clear about this. No one's watching.
I don't think
No one is watching right now. Alright, I'm just gonna put a banana on her desk then. It'll be like a hilarious, like, college prank. I'm still gonna wait for her to come back because I think that gives me maximum banana time. Demolition, stop looking at me like that.
think you might
Of course. Dr. Clark.
Don't you think she could just take her notebook in there with her? Doesn't that seem like a normal way to behave?
there.
That's so stupid. It's just such an inelegant way to do this. It's so stupid.
What? Miss Montgomery, what is the meaning of this? How many times have I said, no food in the testing chamber?
But
I don't want excuses. Clear it out. Put away the power sale. We're done with testing today.
Yes, Dr. Clark.
If he doesn't like bananas in the testing room, why did she like take it with her to the most sensitive area of the research? I will admit that the desk was demanding a banana. That is true.
I apologize for that, Miss Leger, but I'm very particular about rules.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Huh? I know what some of you are thinking, but Vasco, you maxed out on saves and it's gonna yell at you. I deleted a few of them, and I'm just planning on reusing some of them and not dealing with how bad that interface is. So
Can't think of any.
why is this game like this? These are the things that create really frustrating, like, artificial, like, hang-ups in this game. Where, like, I really strongly think that I had tried talking to Phil in this room yesterday before having the food discussion, and I had none option to do anything. Even though distraction, like, still seemed like a relevant thing to try and do, without, like, a clear goal in mind, like, it might get me more information, like, the game didn't allow that as an option. So then, I don't think that I should try to do that with the banana. Like, it seems like that's just not a thing I can do. And then it turns out that it is, and it's really important. But now that I've done the banana, and, like, now that I could, like, use a distraction to go into the lab, we're like, nah, I can't think of a reason why I would do that. I can't think of a reason why I would try to accomplish my primary goal. I suppose we can act with the foreground. Nah, I mean, like, so things that have hotspots in this room are her notes, which we've repeatedly said, like, we don't care about. We can look at all this sciencey stuff, and she's basically like, I'm too stupid. And then there's this cabinet full of batteries, but every time I've, like, tried opening it, she's like, he's just gonna see me and be mad because I'm not supposed to take his batteries.
Not while Clark's around.
I guess let's try talking to him.
Dr. Clark.
Yes.
I'm unclear on this. So, I have the option to say that D.W. Shaw, the lady who owns the oil company, sent us. I am getting the impression that the game wants me to think that this is obviously the correct thing to do. I think I disagree. I feel like that's not a smart thing to do. But I mean, I just saved it. I'm not sure that the game will let me proceed if I don't do that, is the trick. Hi, Uncle. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully it was a good, very, very long sleep. At least it wasn't like 40 years or whatever. I'm about to blow up my whole spot. Please enjoy.
Dr. Clark, there's something I need to tell you. We're not really new hires.
What? Who are you then?
Some folks who were hired by D.W. Shaw to come find you.
The head of Vespuccia Petrol.
The very same.
What does she want with me?
She wants you to help her company pivot from oil to ethericity.
How
I
does
so
she
don't believe
intend
that.
to circumvent the ban?
She seems to think it'll be lifted soon. Or that she can influence things in that direction.
So she would have me work for VP to generate etheric energy for...
I mean, I guess this should appeal to him, but I just
As
don't
an
think you should
alternative
trust it.
power source, yes. It might even replace coal and oil someday.
Well, that's certainly more appealing than weaponry. But extreme arrangements have been made to develop this project in secret and at considerable expense.
No, I'm sure the secret underground island base
just walk away from.
came cheap. Unfortunately, I had nightmares again. I'm sorry, Neko. But you shouldn't have nightmares about Espion, because per last stream's discussion, Espion is secured. Maybe we can fake your death. Oh boy. I mean, if you became a public figure, that sure wouldn't be helpful. I feel like the most reasonable of these options is that Laporte is a rogue agent. We had his journal, and it sounds like this shouldn't get out. So I'm gonna say that.
I'm not so sure Laporte is acting in his capacity as a military general with the full backing and authority of the Vespuccian government here. We've seen plenty of things that don't add up. The clandestine nighttime shipments, the hired private agents, the hidden underground base, all the convoluted arrangements here, the fact that all this research is still technically illegal. I think this is all a side gig. Some kind of secret conspiracy running on misappropriated funds. Don't you see? That means he doesn't have power over you. You could expose everything that's going on here. You'd have leverage over him.
I think that means he could send someone to murder me to keep me quiet and not lose a wink of sleep over it. That's not exactly convincing me to leave.
So you're dead set on staying here? You won't consider Shaw's offer?
I admit it's enticing, but is it worth the risk?
Yes. Sure, Shaw has money. Let's pretend that she has your best interests in
If it's
mind.
Laporte you're afraid of, I'm sure Shaw can protect you.
Can she? The general is a powerful man. I'm not willing to risk getting on his bad side.
Persuade Clark to leave. I'm gonna save fake your death for last. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but I'm willing to do it if that's what it takes. If that your dad poisoned you. That's not great. That's rough. Did it involve a red banana by any chance? We finally used ours not long before you joined the stream.
If nothing else, don't you want to get back into the world again?
Perhaps, but not badly enough to defy the Vespuccian military.
Okay, how about that last one?
Laporte doesn't have to know anything about this. We could fake your death somehow and get you away.
Miss Leger, let it not be ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad the game treats
I'll
that
let
as
you get back to
ridiculous.
it.
Thank you.
I'll let you get back to it. I'm just gonna steal your laser gun.
I don't think I'm allowed. Can't think of any.
Okay. Let's try talking to our friends outside.
Can't think of it. All right there, Danny?
Yep.
A serious question. Am I the only one annoyed by our companions? How do I put this? I mean, I talked a little bit yesterday about how I felt let down by the fact that giving all the companions like unique skill sets felt like we were like setting the game up to have like slightly different like paths of being able to solve problems by like using some like soft RPG elements. But even setting that aside, in like a traditional point and click adventure game, it's often the case that like having like an NPC companion is so that you can like bounce ideas off them when you get stuck. I mean, case in point, Sam & Max. We played through like all the Sam & Max games last year, and like no matter which one you were in control of for any given chapter, you almost always had access to the other of the partner pair, or at least like some other character acting in their stead if there was a reason that they weren't playable at the time. And like even if they wouldn't give you like super overt hints about what to do, they would at least like help sort of like reframe like the current situation in a way that sometimes might help get you thinking. But like so much of the time in this game when you talk to them, she's either like, I can't think of anything to say to them, or like you're just sort of like, hey, how do you like the secret lab? And they're like, it's gross, I hate it here. And then you're finished talking. Like, just like the both, and when they do help, it's very situational. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would exactly say that I dislike Danny, but I think they might have leaned a little bit too hard on his character flaw of being passive to the point that like he very rarely contributes anything of note other than like shooting a gun sometimes. And like I think there's a way you could like make that fun or interesting, but I'm not sure that we nailed it. I do wish that we had the like legitimately the two characters that we lost before coming to El Presidio were like my two favorite NPCs. So like I think that's part of why I took like the transition to this last stage of the game like extra hard. Maybe I can have a conversation with the research assistant in her quarters. Hello, I'm here to bother you.
I suppose so.
You like the saltiness of the one guy who fell out the window? I mean, he's literally one of our companions now. We just don't get along, and he's not very helpful. Like, that's Phil. I know it's been a while, but like, the guy who fell out the window is Phil.
Just how long have you been working down here?
Let's ask her
Good
all the
question.
questions.
It's difficult keeping track of time.
There's a clock
We're
over your
in
head.
September, right?
November, actually.
Oh, then it's been longer than I thought. We came down here in March.
What got you interested in
What
anti-science?
sparked your interest in etheric research?
I followed Dr. Clark's career from the early days. He was one of the first to begin advancing etheric theory with practical experiments. Not only that, he was getting results. After I graduated from university, I sent him my thesis on the effects of ethericity on plants and animals.
Wait a
I guess
minute.
that made me one of the few practical researchers out there too. He wrote back immediately with an offer of employment.
Does that make... There's a character in Lamplight City whose like apartment you break into to prove that they're like guilty of crimes, and you like find evidence that they like were doing aethericity experiments on, I think, primarily plants, but also animals. Like they had like notes strewn about. Is that her? She was... That might have been the college student case. Huh.
How do you keep from getting bored?
The work is pretty all-consuming, and we don't have much of a social scene down here. Dr. Clark is kind enough to lend us his books to pass the quiet hours.
Have you tried encouraging him by pushing him out another window? No, but I do think that there's an argument that that could help. That actually also just makes me think it would be kind of fun to have an adventure game where, like, at least one playable character was, like, a stunt person, and so, like, a way that they could solve problems was by, like, jumping out windows and, like, having bottles broken over their head and stuff. Like, that actually sounds really fun.
Do you know who built this place?
I suppose this is an old army base, but Clark's had it fitted with some really state-of-the-art equipment. We're lucky to be so well-resourced.
I was blown away by that demonstration.
Actually, the doll was blown away.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
Huh. We've been working on it non-stop, but there are a lot of kinks to work out before it'll be field-ready.
Not sure how I feel about a
instance, we
kinky
still
ray
can't get
gun.
more than one shot out of each power cell. I suppose in an actual battlefield situation, you'd need to carry around a lot of cells and reload for every shot, like cannonballs. But the power cells are still very difficult to construct, so we only have a few prototypes. We have to recharge them constantly.
You can't, like, make a revolver out of those?
How long does it normally take to charge one of the power cells?
Around 6 hours.
Wow.
Wow is right. Joshua hooked one up to the etheric generator and discovered that it charged instantly. But Dr. Clark wasn't happy about it.
Why not?
He said it made the power cell unstable. But we didn't have to wait all day for the next trial.
Ah.
Joshua was even able to get 2 shots out of that one. The overcharge effect is certainly something we should investigate later.
So that sounds like we're gonna use the alternate charging method to make an unstable cartridge that will blow up the gun and maybe the person trying to shoot it. I think that's just Max. It's similar to Max, but you could do something slightly more grounded. You would get to, like, split the difference between, like, straight up cartoon characters like Talking Dog and Rabbity thing and, like, a really grounded adventure game. Like, for some reason, the example that came to mind is Gray Matter, but weren't they doing, like, dream experiments or something in that? That wasn't super grounded.
What was that about a faster way to charge the power cell?
No, I just found the
Joshua
looping one.
figured out
We
that
just
hooking the
reframed
power
it.
cell to the etheric generator charged it instantly. But Dr. Clark discouraged it because it makes the power cell unstable.
What was the right banana for? So we asked the other research assistant all the questions, and he was like, man, you know what Dr. Science hates is food. There shouldn't be any food in the science room. And then we went into the demonstration lab and distracted him while she was out of the room and put a banana on her desk, and he was like, oh my god, is that a banana on your desk, or are you looking to get fired? And then he told her to leave and stop working for the day.
Between you and me, doesn't it concern you that ethericity is being weaponized?
Not at all. It's a powerful energy source, and this is one of many practical applications.
Sure, but isn't it better to use it for less destructive purposes?
We live in a dangerous world, and these are uncertain times. Other nations probably have their own etheric weaponry development programs underway. If we didn't pursue this research, we'd be falling behind. A new weapon is most useful as a deterrent. Having it in your back pocket means everyone else thinks twice before firing on you. I know Dr. Clark's had some moral reservations about the military applications of ethericity, but he's a professional through and through.
When is it not uncertain times? When you disrupt the passage of time itself, and you're locked in a moment of time and nothing changes, then it's very certain, I think. Nico says, I think a red banana belongs in a science room. I think it belongs in a museum. I do also agree that we probably should have used it to make someone slip.
So, what's working with Dr. Clark like?
He hates
a brilliant
food.
man. I learn something new from him every day.
He seems short-tempered.
Well, yes, but that's just the genius mind, isn't it? No room left over for navigating social niceties.
I do not like the cut of this lady's jib.
Can you tell me anything about General Laporte?
Not really. I know he's the one overseeing this project, but I've never had the opportunity to speak with him.
Exactly how do you go about calling the elevator?
We don't. None of us have the code.
So you're
That's
trapped
so
down
good.
here? What if there's an emergency?
That's what the communication relay is for. We contact the guard upstairs, and he can take care of whatever we need.
About that, we may have convinced him that there was a ghost and caused him to potentially flee the island. I'm not actually sure where he ended up, but I'm not actually. We may be trapped. It's possible.
I appreciate.
It's nice to have someone new to talk to.
You know what? That is probably fair. I was like, why would this lady who seems really suspicious of humanity want to open up? But like, yeah, I guess if you've been down here for like 8 months with no sunlight, you'd talk a little bit with a stranger, sure. Do these doors run off aethericity? These like Star Trek doors?
This seems like a good place to attach the wires.
And all I have to do is get everyone but the doctor to touch those wires. So I gotta get myself an energy core. For reasons. Now that I know I want that, can I get him to do another distraction?
any-
Of course. Of course not. They don't have the Star Trek whooshing sound. That is true, but keep in mind that this is really early in the heyday of that technology. This is, later on that important scientific advancement occurred.
The lab assistant's desk. Looks like some flashing lights and...
Is it possible to reach this point in the game with like only one companion? Because it seems wild how little Danny's even like trying to contribute.
That's where they keep the power cells for the etheric gun.
You'd think it is. That's pretty wild. Maybe if like the person you're closest to is Jake, that makes the math wonky or something. I don't know.
Not while Clark's around.
Like none of this stuff, like all. Most of the inventory objects you get for like the whole game kind of suck, to be honest with you. I think that's part of why the puzzles have largely felt kind of mediocre. There've definitely been some fine ones. I don't know if we've had any that felt like particularly exciting. I mean, they have like a kind of noise. It's not as good as Star Trek. Just keep looking at my inventory and it just sucks.
Controls...
Let's talk to this guy again.
Hey,
Sure.
is there any way to call the elevator from down here?
Not unless you have the code, and none of us do.
So how are you supposed to get back up?
We aren't. Not until the project's finished. But there's always a guard stationed up top. We use the device next to the elevator to call up if we need anything.
Okay, see you around.
Bye.
So does that mean I'm supposed to try doing that? Because that seems like a bad idea. So light this place on fire. I mean, with that in mind, that like massive safety violation, it does seem like it would be a way to stop the etheric weapon technology, huh?
Odd device.
It would probably be wise to...
What if we just tried entering 1, 2, 3, 4?
I have no idea what the code is.
What does the journal say right now? Wow, it is not updated in a minute. It's like, we better go get Dr. Clark. It's like, well, what to do next is annoying. That's my favorite demolition trying to keep the stream moving. It's just like, just keep in mind, like, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you're definitely going to hate it. It comes up much more often than I want. It's like the worst, like, not spoiler you can get. And it's just like, it really does come up more often than it should. Okay, so, like, the thing is, like, there's not a lot to interact with down here, so it feels like it shouldn't be that hard to, like, go through all the options, and yet here we
little
are.
Oven. This thing is an...
So, like, this microwave is, like, effed in the B. I don't think I could do anything with the gold. It doesn't seem like it's gonna let me do a thievery. I don't, there... I mean...
There's a card slot seems to be...
I don't know how I would get the doctor's card. I don't know why he's the only one who gets, like, a locked door. That also feels like that would cause trouble.
This must be the... I can see the test.
It's also kind of weird to me how many, like, in this small area where you would, like, definitely go insane. Like, there's things like the food, and, I can't do... Actually, can we talk about how stupid it is that, like, I have to bring outside food to this laboratory to cause, like, a food issue when, like, there's literally food here? This one is expected to arrive somewhere vaguely in June. That sounds like that might be even more annoying than whatever's about to happen in this game. I'm sorry it's not sooner. It should be now. They should send it now, through some sort of temporal wormhole.
Dr.
Yes.
Oh, okay. When I exhausted all options, even though I'm pretty sure it kicked me out of the dialogue tree, there's a new dialogue option for reasons.
You'd prefer your research be used to find new ways to kill people?
Great start.
Oh, but
Look, I understand. You suffered a terrible setback after the expo.
That's
I'm sure
one
it must have
way
been
to
hard.
call
You
it.
probably felt like nobody would ever take you seriously again.
you have no idea.
I do know that if I were in your shoes, I'd have probably grabbed onto any lifeline. But I can tell your heart's not really in it, especially knowing what it is you're building.
Yes, well,
So you're gonna squander this opportunity to do some real good in the world because you're afraid of a stuffy old general?
you're right, Miss Leger. This isn't about me. This is about humanity.
I feel like we should have been able to arrive at this through all the other dialogue options we already did, but okay.
Oh, goodness. How shall we? We need to do this discreetly. My assistants can't know what's going on. I'm going to my quarters to settle some things. Excuse me.
Damn. The Revolution could use someone with your persuasive skills.
Too bad my Spanish is lousy.
I appreciate that retort, but the notion that we were persuasive is annoying because you literally, like, exhaust every dialogue option to get that one. Crap, he locked it? That sucks. But you don't understand, I wanted that. I wanted to go in there and take that. Just like real quick, maybe we're gonna take this.
This is Project Rosewater. Let's hope nobody notices this is missing.
It's so bad. Like, it's just such a bad, dangerous thing to do. See, I would rather have had...
It appears to be a charging device. There's a small round socket at the top. Can't charge that. It's displaying all sorts of numbers and readings I can't begin to comprehend.
Looks in from the other glass window at, the one reason everyone's here. Yeah, I agree. That's primarily why I say it feels like a really bad idea to have taken it, but, we're here. Oh, and everyone left, so we don't have to worry about that for some reason. And now the doctor's door is unlocked. That was all very convenient. Like, a bunch of really convenient stuff just happened.
I'd better not.
Clomp, clomp,
Hello.
clomp.
I'm just leaving a note for my assistants.
Explaining why you're giving them the slip?
I feel I owe it to them.
Does he know how to get out of here? Because we've come to find out that we can't leave.
It's a ferrotype of Clark's old lab near Rosewater.
Rip lab.
Ferrotype of a death.
Ooh, what's in the box?
A toolbox. Naturally, Clark would be a tinkerer.
Just gonna...
Might I borrow your screwdriver, Dr. Clark?
Oh, heck yeah.
By all means.
Definitely need that. Otherwise, we're not leaving.
At least there's plenty of books down here.
Can't leave? No, apparently you need a secret code that no one down here was given in order to leave. Otherwise, you need to talk to the guard, who we convinced to leave through force of dirty cheat and ghost trickery.
At least there's
Doesn't feel like there's a whole lot going on in this room.
busts of?
Galileo, Copernicus, Da Vinci. 3 great men who changed the world as we know it.
Hoping to add your likeness to the collection someday?
Well, I wouldn't be opposed, if I'd earned it, of course.
I like your suggestion that they would have been 3 of the 4 Ninja Turtles demolition, but I feel like that would probably be closer to appropriate if we were dealing with an artist and not a scientist making death rays.
Dr. Clark?
Yes, what is it?
Incidentally, did you have like a secret fortune?
Something I've been wondering about.
Hmm?
When we first started looking for you, the idea was floated, let's say, that you had a stash somewhere of cash left over from investments in your research that had to be concealed once the work became illegal. Is there any truth to that notion?
You're asking me to tell you if I have a secret hidden fortune.
Well,
More or less.
I don't expect you to tell me where or hand it over or anything. I'm just burning to know if there was really anything to the rumor at all, or if it was all just dust and fairy tales.
What do you think?
I kind of feel like his answer is just going to be like, sure, whatever you think. I don't know, it's more fun to believe.
Call me a romantic, but I just have a feeling there's more to this story. You strike me as a man who might have some tricks up his sleeve, and 1 or 2 secrets.
Hmm.
Did you know that a group of ethericity worshippers flocked to your old lab and set up a commune there?
My lab in Rosewater?
Yup.
The one
We
that
met
used to
them
be
when
in
we went
Rosewater,
there
yes.
Looking for clues as to your whereabouts. They picked everything clean. Built a kind of
They may
museum
even have been
to you
responsible
and
for
your
the destruction of your lab in a horrible accident.
My work always attracted strange sorts. Curious gawkers would show
Like,
up
as far as you know.
hoping to catch a glimpse of something spectacular, or the angry bereaved, threatening vengeance for the victims of the disaster. It's been quite a relief not having to worry about all that down here.
That commune by your lab, they're from a religious movement calling themselves the Luminarians. Apparently, they believe that the ether is populated by these otherworldly presences called the Luminous Ones, and that you disappeared because you opened up a gateway to the other side of the veil where everything is bliss and peace, and you transcended and became a luminous one yourself. They call you Evocator Bennett, and they think that you were just leading the way for them all to follow somehow and cross over into new lives on the other side.
How did they
think
figure
that
it out?
Anyone who gets vaporized in an etheric blast also transcends into the ether, and their soul, which looks like a butterfly trapped inside
I
their
love how
body,
long this
gets
is.
freed to fly into this other place while leaving behind the shadow of their mortal shell as a marker. They make what they call soul paintings of people that look like the shadows of the disaster victims, and paint butterfly motifs all over everything to indicate the purity and beauty of a person's true etheric form.
Cool.
Wow.
Good response. His responses to this dialogue are quite good.
So how do we make our escape without alerting your assistants?
First things first. We need to call the elevator so we have a way out. But we also need to find a way to disable the communications relay. Otherwise, the alarm will be raised and they'll catch us in no time.
I mean, also theoretically, if we hadn't disposed of the guard, I feel like his plan would require us disposing of the guard. She says, "Yeah. So, anyways, how do you get out of here?" Yeah, just I don't know. I get maybe that's supposed to be a hint that Harley might be on the spectrum. That she just like got real dialed into her special interest of that cult. A lot of cults in this game. Really weirdly like cynical but specific take on humanity presented by Rosewater, I feel. Like a lot of cults and people acting unreasonably as large groups. And like also just like not trusting anyone.
Well, it may come to you as a bit of good news that your old lab won't be attracting any more strange folk.
Oh no?
We, kinda blew it up.
What? Why did you do that?
It was just necessary in order to find the information we needed to locate you. It's kinda complicated. But you weren't planning on ever going back there, right?
No, I suppose I wasn't. That was a complicated chapter.
See, he doesn't care.
Probably for the best it's gone and done with.
So how can we
Anyway, how do we call the elevator?
Good question. It requires a 4-digit code. To my knowledge, the only people who know it are General Laporte and the guard upstairs.
Too bad I didn't think to ask what it was before getting rid of him.
Without that code, we are stuck.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah, you gave me a screwdriver. We're probably good.
Could you explain this communications relay thing?
Of course, next to the elevator, there's a device we can use to contact the person standing guard upstairs. It's mainly for emergency use. If the guard doesn't respond after a time, the wires relay the signal to Laporte's office.
So we need to disable it to keep Laporte from suspecting anything.
Precisely.
That's weird. When OSHA existed, it would have been all over this. Yeah, but this is at the other end of the time spectrum, where it doesn't exist yet, and also is a
I'll
parallel
let you
universe.
Think.
Alright, first things first is screwdriver time. You can't do an entire adventure game without a screwdriver. That's ridiculous. I think screwdriver might be the single most commonly used adventure game item of all time. It's up there with things like rope and like matches.
There we go.
How would I know, like, what a good pattern is?
Interesting. This metal plate has several contact points.
So somewhere I'm gonna find, what is that, like a 3x5 grid? I probably gotta match this pattern, huh? Like a little Tetris T and some like other stuff on the side. You thought it was tampon based on Lorelei and the laser eyes, but it didn't do anything. It wasn't even the most commonly used item in that game. So 2 and 6, I think, are looking good. No, 6 is not good because that highlights something at the top that's not correct. Is that good? No, that's too far down. 8? That can't be right. 5? That made a weird clicking sound. So that's probably... yeah, okay. So I think I want 5, and which one did the 2? No, wait, isn't that a problem? It's not 4. Not 1. Unless I have to do it upside down or something. Shouldn't be the bottom, so I don't think that would be right. Hold on a second. Now that I have this, will the game permit me to like put this in here?
Well, how about that?
Okay, that makes this somewhat easier. So, okay, it's not where I was looking at. I was trying to do it, I guess, upside down. So, like... so, 8 and... is that not right? Guess those are too far back. I guess in theory, with the punch card blocking everything but the correct ones, I could just press all the buttons, huh? So 5, 8. Three, 5, 8.
Guess I pressed too. Guess I pressed.
Am I hallucinating? Does nothing press those buttons up there? Nick says, I can assure you that tampon was the most commonly used item in Laser Eyes. It just wasn't the most successfully used. No, but my point before was that I think Screwdriver is the most commonly used adventure game item among all adventure games ever. And I guess told me in America you guys don't get gigantic chocolate eggs for Easter. Is this true? I mean, you know, we've gotten like sort of secondary Cadbury cream eggs available here forever. They're not as common a tradition. Here it's like more common to have like a chocolate rabbit, which are normally just like a hollow milk chocolate shell in the shape of a rabbit. So 358 covers everything but those two over there, which are... how many rows are there? Are those the back? It's not 7. It's not 6.
Guess I.
It's not 4. 2. Two, 3, 5, 8. Although it may require specific order, I'm unclear on that.
Guess that wasn't the...
Okay. So like 3, 2, 5, 8.
Guess that wasn't...
Okay, so 2, 3, 8, 5.
Guess that was... Damn. There must be a way to figure out which buttons to press. The
I'm
configuration of the
literally
piston
doing...
seems to be
Lady!
the key.
Lady!
Haven't I seen something like this recently?
Lady, I'm literally doing it right now! Okay. 2, 3, 8, 5.
Guess that...
3, 2, 8, 5.
Guess that was... Still not getting it. I wish this contraption just had a keycard slot like the one on the surface. I wonder...
This is making me crazy. I'm literally doing it. I'm literally doing it right now. The game is acting like I'm stupid. Okay, I've done 2, 3, and 3, 2. I've done 5, 8, and 8, 5. So, let's do 5, 8. Hold on. Hold on. It makes a different sound. So it's 5, 2, 3, 8.
There! I figured out the code.
Excellent.
Not just yet.
The what?
That contraption on the wall there. Clark said we need to disable it before we leave.
So annoying. I want to save the code into the game. Game absolutely doesn't want you to have control over it. It's very spiteful.
It's the communications relay.
But like, just to be clear, like I genuinely find this really irritating. That like I think it's an extremely legitimate way if the system gives you feedback without itself like giving some sort of error code that causes an issue, which the game suggests is the case. That like once you narrow down what the 4 buttons are, like just try the combinations. There aren't that many once you have the correct 4 numbers. But like the game's like, you are some kind of idiot. What are you doing pressing the 4 correct buttons and trying to figure out the order? Like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm literally solving your puzzle, you idiot. What do you think his key is? Can I jimmy the lock thing with a screwdriver?
The point is to...
Oh, wait a minute. I have literal lockpicks. Well, do I actually need to lockpick?
Got it. I'm sure they won't miss just one power cell. Or maybe they will. Either way,
Okay,
I've got one now.
Serious question. I know this is gonna sound like salty and sarcastic. Serious question. Do you think that they forgot that they created a minigame system for the lockpicks? Because it seems like they did. It's only happened once. Alright, let me go supercharge this and then, like, I don't know, blow the assistance up. They did. It sure seems like they did, at least, right? Like,
go. Hope this works.
It seems like an
Wow.
absurdly
It charged up
dangerous thing to
almost
do.
instantly.
Like, I feel like if you aren't a researcher on this project, you are much more likely to blow this thing up with you along with it.
Locked and loaded.
Do I have a save file name about shooting with gun? I'll use Seek a Way Out. We're working on getting out of here. That's fine. I think it started in development, then it was too frustrating and they forgot to remove it. It's just, I mean, it's just like, it's really weird, right? Like, it's weird to like put like a whole chapter in your journal with like solutions to 4 lockpicking puzzles and only one exists in the game. Like, that's so weird to me. That seems so odd. Okay, now that I've saved, let me try like shooting everything with gun.
Better not. He's asleep.
Best keep it that way. Hey, I don't want to brag, but I can think of a way to make sure that guy stays asleep. I mean, I guess what it wants me to do is just like blow up the comm relay, which seems like an extremely heinously bad idea, but why not? Come this far.
Stand back. I'm taking this thing out.
Definitely don't be like anywhere in that direction, like anywhere at all.
Oh, híjole!
I thought the plan was to do this discreetly.
Desperate times and all that. Now come on, let's get out of here.
You're taking the prototype, I see. Wait, where did you get a charged power cell? We only charged one up, and we used it in the demonstration.
I hooked this one up to the etheric generator.
You what? That's incredibly dangerous. That kind of unfiltered surge would leave the power cell completely unstable.
Yeah, it'll blow up as a plot point later. Calm down.
The next, 20 minutes, it will explode.
Oh, we'll have to worry about that later. Let's get back topside before your assistants figure out what's going on.
If that power cell starts glowing white, you had better let me know quick.
Oh, good. A timed element. You know I love that. Now, again, I feel like I object
After
to
you, Doctor.
this being easy to go up because, like, there's no controls in the elevator. So even if you get inside, what, like, prompts it to, like, close the doors and go upside? Hey, I think I figured out how to discharge the gun in a timely manner, guys. Again, not trying to brag
Hold
or
it
nothing.
right there.
Shouldn't you be cowering under your bed?
Shut up. Hand over your weapons and come with us. There's someone wants to see you.
So the overcharged cell is a plot point, and it's just gonna like blow this guy up during a dialogue tree. Is that the idea?
Air, Dr. Clark, kindly stand over there if you would. You three, up against the wall.
She had this funny pistol on her.
Ah, there it is. Can't let this fall into the wrong hands, can we?
Who's the other guy with the hat on?
Now, have you got anything to say for yourself?
Oh, let's see about that. How did you find us?
How did you know we were here?
I had you followed after our encounter at the Jolly Good Club. You thieves
That's
are all the same.
unfortunate.
We are not thieves.
No, you
I definitely
raided
stole
my
some stuff.
supply wagon, broke into my private room, took my key card from my safe, and stole my etheric pistol. If you're not
Borrowed.
thieves, you should consider taking it up. You're naturals.
What I said was we're not thieves. I'm definitely a thief. We didn't know that the wagon was his. I think we want to keep him talking until the gun explodes.
We had no idea the wagon was yours. We were only trying to help the Aurum right a wrong done to them.
Friends to the savages, how noble. It's clear to me you've no idea what you've stepped into. So,
What's it?
who put you up to this?
It was
Gentleman Jake.
He was leading us on a search supposedly for Clark's lost fortune.
Lost fortune? Curious.
I'll
Though
tell
I'd
you
be
all
rather
about it.
shocked if he came up with that all on his own. We've chatted long enough.
General, what are you doing?
Conducting my own test, Doctor. It's time to see if your prototype really works.
Not so fast, Laporte.
Take another 20 minutes
I
or
would
so.
strongly advise you not to fire that pistol.
And just who in blazes are you?
Timothy King, representing D.W. Shaw and Vespuccia Petrol.
Why have you come to this little summit?
Miss Leger and her companions were charged with delivering Dr. Clark to my employer.
Super
They
weird
are
that
the
you're just willing to
company's
say that, but okay.
responsibility.
Guess you got the
I
gun.
have to insist you stop interfering with our agents and let them go.
You can't be serious.
I am.
Boys, take care of this louse.
Are they also hired by...
Down, pendejo!
What's literally happening?
General.
Well, we've got all kinds
This
coming
is
out of the
very
woodwork
stupid.
tonight. And who might you be?
Lieutenant General Marisol de la Vega. You must be General Laporte.
Seems you new Spanish revolutionaries are much cleverer than I was led to believe.
Cabron.
General Marquez assigned me to trace the suspicious shipments of aurum passing through Fort Beaumont. The trail led here.
Are we trying to do a Clue
Bully for
ending? Is
you.
that what we're doing?
Perhaps if you attended more to affairs in your own country,
Dude, this guy's gonna blow
you
up.
rebels could accomplish more than mounting the occasional irritating riot for Spain to put down.
You should probably not say that with
Here
these guns
you
aimed
are
at you.
irritating me.
I gotta put a bullet in your head, Laporte.
Do so, and you'll receive one in kind. That goes for Mr. King as well.
It would seem we have reached an impasse.
I'm afraid the word impasse is not in my vocabulary.
I don't read much. I'm functionally illiterate. I have
Aren't
some
I
last words
entitled
to say.
Some last words?
Yes, I suppose so. Go on, then.
I swear my ghost will haunt you for eternity. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So, see, the funny thing is, Sarah Rocks Aqua contacted me in the middle of the week and told me she did some research on this game and said she found something that managed to confirm that Harley Leger is Bill's sister, meaning that he is the ghost that haunts the character from that game forever, the ghost we all hate collectively. I think it's probably just that they have the same last name, but I honestly couldn't be bothered to go check that despite liking that game. I'm just too lazy. But keeping that in mind, definitely the ghost one. It was the worst ending of the first game. Just imagining the finger guns can't hurt him. It'd be really funny if we could time pointing a finger gun at him with the gun exploding and then he died. If I don't choose a dialogue option, does he explode?
I swear to you, my ghost will haunt you for eternity.
It's a good thing I don't believe in ghosts.
Hey gang, I died?
Huh, guess I should have said something else. Let's take that again. Aren't I entitled to some last words?
Yes. I
Cool, you're a
suppose
spooky
so.
skeleton. I had no
Go on.
idea that had been inside me the whole time. Okay, see, now I'm actually legitimately curious. Is this one of those garbage zero time dilemma puzzles where the only way to play is not to play at all and that eventually solves the puzzle? Or is there actually like a right thing to say? Because like, ideally, I stall for time, but I don't get the sense that any of these will necessarily stall for time. I mean, I feel like if there is a correct dialogue option, perhaps it's unstable, and that's meant to, like, I don't know, cue the other characters to also stall for time or something. But, like, it seems like he would just shoot anyway, right?
I must say, of all the people I've met, you're the most unstable. Wouldn't you agree, Dr. Clark?
Oh, yes.
What?
General Laporte, there is something you need to know.
Now, Clark? Really?
I am afraid it's quite important.
What then?
Well, you see, in my research, we uncovered some fascinating facts about the nature of ethericity. As it turns out, etheric particles, when agitated, enter a state of flux. They begin to dance, in a manner of speaking.
Yes, and...
Well, normally this isn't a problem, but if one were to, say, contain an excessive etheric charge in a small container, the particles would...
The music's a
dance
little
with
tense, huh?
ever-growing intensity. They would continue this frantic movement until, after a certain amount of time, the harmonic resonances caused by the vibration of the particles would rapidly intensify, at which point, with no outlet, they would quite literally explode.
This will
Are you
explain
saying
everything.
You discovered how to make an etheric bomb?
Yes. That would be more or less the long and short of it.
But I could make it longer if needed.
News. Although this is a strange time to deliver it, we'll have to work it into the next phase of the project.
Well, as it turns out, I'm a bit ahead of schedule.
Oh?
Yes. An etheric bomb has already been developed.
Clark, you mad genius. I knew it was a wise decision to hire you.
I would not be so certain of that.
I can't wait to see this new weapon.
Ta-da! The aristocrats.
Maria. Whoa!
Hands up, cobarde!
Nice going, Doctor.
That was... Oh my. I wasn't sure how much
Luckily his
longer I
boots
could
are
keep
intact.
stalling.
I bet they're
That
+1
was
to
one of the most
stealth or something.
satisfying explosions I have ever seen.
Let's get off this rock, shall we?
Well done, Lieutenant General. I knew you would come through.
Of course, Comandante. Now that we have discovered the destination of Laporte's clandestine aurum shipments, how shall we proceed?
It is clear the General will no longer be needing his aurum. How remarkable that in his final moments, he chose to donate it all to the glorious cause of the revolution. You will find it all stashed away down in the base underground. I leave the arrangements in your hands.
Will you be returning with me?
Not just yet. I need to return with the others to collect our payment.
Very well. We can rendezvous on the island later.
You think this room is still busted? Or have... Yeah,
We're
it doesn't look
back,
great.
ma'am.
I'm glad that we'll have, like, a really important final scene here.
Everything has been taken care of.
All loose ends have been tied.
Splendid. Send them in.
I still maintain that I don't believe for a second that this lady is on the level.
Pleased I am at your success. It's good to finally make your acquaintance, Doctor. I am D.W. Shaw.
Let me walk slowly over to you.
We have much to discuss. First, I must conclude my business with Miss Leger and her companions.
Of course.
Here is $3, one for each of you. Try not to spend it all in one
Thank you
place.
a great deal. I cannot thank you enough.
Chat, what option do you like here? I feel like they're all fine. I'm not sure any of them really speaks to me. I think You Can Thank Us Enough with Money's funny. I don't know if one of the others is more interesting. Demolition. I think this is an excerpt from the walkthrough he's had on standby. Time for the final showdown. If you have a high relationship with Jake, he'll come back and save the day. Otherwise, it's up to you to navigate the dialogue and stall Laporte. That's interesting because I actually thought we had a pretty high relationship with Jake. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed it was highest, but I would have guessed it was second highest. Also, like, I think the stall him for time is fine. Just trying to, like, prompt the doctor with the keyword unstable. I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, until you try an option and realize that is failure, I don't know that means anything to you. It's kind of weird. Yeah, let's go with the money. That's fine.
Oh, I think you can. A few thousand ways, in fact.
Straight to business. I admire that. I won't
See, now I
keep
have
you
the
any
highest
longer.
relationship score with the shady
Here's your
businesswoman.
payment. Mr. Ackerman was promised 25,000, but considering all your trouble, I've increased it to 20.
Yeah, that divides real nicely
I'm sure
between
you'll find
the
it
three of
easier
us.
to divide.
Luckily, I still have those $16 from before.
Thank you, Mrs. Shaw.
Pleasure doing business with you.
The money mechanic did not end up being as interesting as I'd hoped either.
Inquiries and learned a few rather compelling things about
Is
General
one of them that
Laporte.
he's like
You
the
could
first
share
person to get
information if you
disintegrated?
like.
You know what? Go on.
then.
It seems General Laporte was a staunch supporter of Mr. Atwood's trade party, quite vocal about his desire for the advancement of steam tech and etheric research. There were also rumours that he held some more controversial opinions regarding this country's sovereignty.
He was a separatist?
Apparently so.
You think Project Rosewater was meant to arm some kind of etheric revolution?
I am merely relaying the information I've learned. Anything beyond that is pure speculation. The only person with knowledge of Laporte's motives is the man himself.
And that information died with him. Well, with him gone and the prototype pistol destroyed, whatever plans he had can't come to fruition.
For now, yes. But I can tell you one thing about this world. It is rare that one accomplishes anything of note alone.
We should get back to our hotel. It's been a long night.
Indeed. Goodbye, Miss Leger. I hope you and your friends enjoy the rest of your time in El Presidio.
And thank you, Miss Leger. I appreciate your facilitating this new opportunity.
Best of luck to you, Dr. Clark. This was all very enlightening.
And as soon as we leave the room, we hear a gunshot because there's no way that she's earnestly working with that man. Oh, hold on. The following evening? A whole day passed. We didn't talk to each other the next day.
What are you two planning on doing next?
General de la Vega means to return and fight. She should be well equipped after securing Laporte's aurum. But I feel it is my duty to assist those who were displaced here.
What about you, Danny?
I'm not really sure. Suppose it wouldn't be such a bad idea to visit my folks. It's been too long. After that, guess I've got to find a new line of work. And what about you, Harley?
Suppose I'll head back to Rosewater. I've got an article to write after all.
So, this
So
is where we
important,
bid
that
each
article.
other farewell, eh?
This is where we part ways, for now. But you know where to find me. And you can be damn sure I'll write back.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Lola? How did you find us?
I'm a tracker, remember? Anyways, I'm heading back to Rosewater. Wanted to see if you needed a lift.
Yeah, that'd be much appreciated.
Then let's get a move on.
You ever for a moment consider just slowing down a tad?
Never. Say your farewells and let's go.
I'll see you both around. It was a real pleasure traveling with you.
Hasta luego.
So long.
I know Danny's kind of a simple man, but the notion that his whole life is now just like, I'm gonna see my parents, feels somehow underwhelming as like a wrap up to the story.
Did I miss anything while I was gone?
Replace the window.
Let's see. There was a dust devil by the saloon that nearly knocked Sheriff Gamble's hat off.
Front page news, then.
Seriously, though, I spoke with the leader of the autumn. She gave me some good stuff. The article runs next week. What of your great adventure?
Concluded
It took
now.
like 4 days.
But I've got plenty of
Probably like
material for an article. Maybe
8 or
even
more.
5.
And you'd best get to it. Better to jot everything down while it's still fresh.
Right you are, boss. They say the end
Demolition's
of every
favorite
journey
animation.
marks the beginning of another. If there's any truth to that, this writer hopes the next one is decidedly duller. My companions and I set out from Rosewater and traveled across the Vespuccian frontier, encountering bandits, rebels, visionaries, eccentrics, and many more friends and foes. We were led to believe that our quest was for Dr. Bennett Clark's missing fortune, but as it turned out, we were on the trail of the very man himself. The following is an account of that journey, with no detail spared, no fact left unrelated. And so at the journey's end, you may ask yourself, dear reader, what of the main players in this saga? Danny went home to a happy reunion with his parents. He says he is still unsure of what career path he'll choose, but he's hung up his pistols and retired from gunslinging.
He won't do
This
the
writer
only
is
thing he's
certain
ever
he will find
been good at.
success in whatever he puts his mind to. General Marquez, known to us as Phil, has reunited with a group of new Spanish refugees in the town of Shivering Pines. He is helping them to acclimate to this new land, and has helped them secure jobs and living quarters. I have no news of the new Spanish Revolution, but Phil seems happy to be leading his people to a new life here in Vespuccia. I wish them all the best. Nadine Redbird has written to tell me she has fully recovered from her wounds and begun the process of obtaining her medical license. She tells me she plans to convert Lola Johnson's wagon into a kind of mobile clinic, traveling the frontier helping those in need. It will be a welcome change from the usual traveling merchants hawking miracle cures. I can think of no one more.
Hey, we really needed that alcohol one time.
As for Miss Johnson, this new business venture will hopefully be more to her liking. At the very least, she now
dog's
sets
in the
her
photo.
own course, rather than bending to the whims of her clients. Miss Johnson truly opened up and offered me her friendship.
Would
for
we
which
say
I am
that?
Ever grateful. I am truly happy that she and Nadine have found each other.
They were roommates in a stagecoach.
Of course, I must acknowledge the catalyst for this grand adventure, Gentleman Jake Ackerman, albeit with some trepidation. For while it's true that he set this whole adventure in motion, it is my unpleasant duty to inform you, dear readers, that Mr. Ackerman is nothing more than a fraud. Far from the brave and noble hero he purports to be, Jake showed his true colors in a moment of danger. We found ourselves ambushed by Blackburn.
Wouldn't this
agents.
already have been
Jake
written into the story?
disgracefully turned and fled, leaving us to face the ruthless barbarians on our own. I have not heard from him since, nor would I wish to. As far as I'm concerned, he could be dead in a ditch or drowned in cheap whiskey in some dark saloon corner. The sooner this fallen star
Such good
fades
friends.
from our collective memories, the better we can all sleep. As for Dr. Clark, he seems happy in his new employment at Vespuccia Petrol. I can only hope his contributions to Mrs. Shaw's enterprise offer greater balm to the restless, inventive mind than the manufacture of apocalyptic weaponry. That, dear readers, is the long and the short of it. This was an adventure unlike any other I've been on. I doubt any other will ever compare. Whew, my hand hurts. We'll see what Joni has to say about this in the morning.
And then there's just a heap of wolves
Hmm.
in our residence.
What do you think?
You want my honest opinion?
Yes, of course I do.
It's good. Very good. It's great, actually. There's just no way on God's green earth we can print this.
Why not?
Secret underground laboratories, government conspiracies, special projects to develop etheric weapons. No one will believe a word of it. Not to mention you name some very powerful and important people who'd have me locked up for libel with a snap of a finger.
So what do you suggest I do?
I'm thinking perhaps you can repurpose it.
Come again?
This story's got everything. Adventure, mad scientists, conspiracies, betrayals. Folk could pay through the nose to read this. If it were a novel.
Novel?
Sure. All you have to do is change the names, do a little narrative restructuring. You can even say it's based on actual events. That way we're off the hook.
That's not a thing they would have done back then.
A whole book, huh?
Trust me, I have a nose for these things. This one smells like a hit. You're sitting on a pile of aurum.
All right. I'll do it.
Excellent. Now all we need's a title.
That's your job, isn't it?
Suppose it is. It needs to be something catchy. Something simple yet...
We're coming up on roll credits, huh?
Something like...
I completed the game, according to the achievement. Well, you know I have mixed feelings about this. I mean, it's a game that I'm certainly glad that I played through. It's also a game that I do feel like missed a lot of its own potential. And I generally don't take well to that. Which says I never doubted, mostly because I wasn't here. It's a great place to be. Oh my god, there's a separate illustrator for Nadine's story that's so good. That's so funny. I really appreciate that. But also hi to you, Crit Twitch. So I don't know. I don't find those epilogues really particularly satisfying myself. I don't know. I don't know that I have something in particular in mind that I wanted them to do or to be, but I don't know. I mean, particularly Danny's feels really lackluster. It's he saw his parents and they're I don't know. And I get in the short term that's really earnest because he hadn't made a decision or whatever, but it just seems really ridiculous to me that it's still it became Danny? Well, he saw his parents that one time, you see. Okay, I can't skip and I don't have control of the game, so I can't adjust the volume. So I guess we're just here with this. Yeah, I mean, probably there's a lot of things that sort of ruffle my feathers here, but probably the single biggest issue I have with this game is that probably something 65 or 70% of the game is just largely irrelevant. It seems like everything that happens after you leave the town of Rosewater until you reach El Presidio largely only matters for you to do some secret handshake to determine which character you like the most or whatever. This thing is kind of nice. It's certainly not bad. It's just, I wanted to sort of talk a little bit, and it's, it's a little bit of a conflict. I just figured I'd turn it down less than skip it or whatever. But so yeah, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of inconsistency in the quality and difficulty in puzzles, and I feel like, as so many other adventure games did before it, this game suffers from third act syndrome of it just, I don't know, it felt like at a certain point we were you know what, we are done with this, we've run out of money, so we're just gonna rush through this. You put a banana on that girl's desk, you charge a gun, and the game just kind of ends. You'll figure it out. I'm not sure how... I mean, I guess if I had a good relationship score with Jake and he came back, that would feel like a nice moment to tie up that story arc. I genuinely thought we had a pretty good relationship with him. I would have put Nadine as our top friend, then Jake, then maybe the carriage driver lady, and then everyone else after that, not extremely close. Even though I felt like I tried to be close with Danny. He just doesn't open up very much. So I don't know. In some ways, it feels like it's a little bit of a bait and switch, because it felt like we would be doing Western stuff, and you dabble a little bit in that on the road trip to El Presidio, but I don't know, a lot of those individual locations felt completely disconnected from everything around them, And like there was some nice stuff of like, you know, you talk to the fossil lady and then you see her give the speech at the Jolly Good Club. Like that's kind of fun. But like so much of that stuff felt like it just like didn't matter at all. Like even like the people who end up helping you at the end of the game, like I don't know, maybe I could have done something to have better relationships with people along the way and have like even more people back us up, and that would kind of be fun and add to the ridiculousness of that final showdown. But like I don't know, like the post office that we like started a fire in because there was like a coyote or something in it, like that didn't matter. There's like just like a bunch of stuff that like doesn't end up mattering. There's like a kid that we saved. We like rebuilt the shrine on the road for travelers. Like just none of it seemed like it mattered. And like there's a new game plus. Choose Act 2 vignettes and access companion relationship tracker by pressing Control R. That's interesting. How overt is the game about telling you that? Where would bonus content be? Bonus content. There were bloopers in Lamplight City too, yeah? Oh, there's like a ton of these. This feels familiar.
If you're serious about joining, you'll observe the customs. Also, it's an adventure game. That's why. Click on me. Click on me again. Ouch, stop clicking on me. If you would just stop clicking on me, I would tell you what to do next. Ooh, that felt good, though. Not there. Don't click there. This is not a mature-rated game. Okay.
Oh, look. It's not Cholmondeley.
Evocator. All right. It's not Chumley. It's not just a giant pile of consonants. It's okay.
Someone clearly worked on both games. Chumley is the pronunciation of Cholmondeley, which was, I think, multiple bloopers in the last game where people being faced with trying to read this extremely nonsensical word. I don't know if it's worth going through all of these. I don't know. What's our collective feeling on this? There's a bunch of these. It would take us a little while. Do like...
Besides, I don't think they've yet written a statute outlawing vexatiousness. I am a writer. Have some 5-crown words while we're at it. Good sir, I have a liberal arts degree. I'm not to be trifled with.
Let's see why the not safe for work ones are not safe for work. Probably, well, I don't know. Did this game... There were certainly some swears. I guess there weren't any, like, F words.
Fuck you, bitch!
Well, that'll do
right?
it.
I'm just saying what we're all thinking. Jeez! I need double scale for this. It's too much PTSD.
I don't know what character... Like, it would help to have context for why he's so mad.
I swear the man changes his mind more often than most change their bitches. I swear the man changed their bitches. Oh, man. Yo, what's up? Got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't a one. Anyway.
I like that one of these isn't not safe for work. I'm not really sure what the distinction would be.
You can't just go in there without a ticket. Dumbass.
I have a feeling there's something important in there. No shit, Harley, you dumbass. Okay.
That one I do enjoy. That's pretty good. I don't know, people seem to be liking these. You just want to go through them?
She is atrocious, and I adore her.
I appreciate how many of these seem to be people like connecting with their character in an almost like meta way or something. Appropriate final lines. Is this something to do with the laser gun?
It needs to be something catchy. Something simple yet evocative. Something like... No, something like that.
I appreciate you must have many questions, Miss Leger. Is it Leger or Ledger? Leger. Ooh la la.
Ah, my old dairy. Diary. I was going to say, wow, where are the cows?
Did that make sense if your water runs red sometimes? Did that read okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say maybe one more take.
All right. What is the sense of that?
That's leaky like he's crying, but your well water runs red if you punched him and he's bleeding.
Oh, okay.
Anything good in our art book? It's also served as the game's hidden test room. That's interesting. It seems like a much more fun saloon environment than the only one we went to. Are we never in the wagon at night? The art in this game is really nice. There are times when the characters in animations looked rough. Some of the like cutscene art was like rough around the edges, but I really appreciate the animations themselves. There was a lot of good work in that, and a lot of the environments in this game were really nice as well. The art books really rubbing salt in the wound with Nadine appearing in all these late game scenes that I was not allowed to have because she was the character I was closest with. And this game does a really weird thing I don't like. It's scrolling. I'm not doing that. I think that's obvious, but I'm not. I'm kind of curious if it's going to break the skybox and go through Black's head's eyes. It seems like it just bounced back. Travel shrine that looks way different than what we saw. The bandits excursion. Is that supposed to be the one where we like lost our money? Because it was just like a single like pond. Not as much there as I expected. Ooh, developer commentary coming soon. That's fun. I don't remember if there was developer commentary for Lamplight City. Maybe they had it and it would require another playthrough and I didn't do it. The New Game Plus is interesting. I really doubt I would do that. But, okay. So, I've already said a lot about Rosewater and my feelings on it. I guess like it's just tough because like it's a game that tries to convince you that your consequences matter early on. It really feels like the game started off as something and ended as something else. Like it feels like that's the sort of common denominator between everything. Like early on, you have like two choices on how to try to get into the theater to see Gentleman Jack, which is like the first major thing that you really need to do. And, you know, like one of them is to like pay off a goon, just like a local thug, and just be done with it. And the other one is to like commit a crime on his behalf so that that same goon will help you out. It's sort of a question of like, do you want to pay this guy money? Do you trust the thing he's telling you? Do you feel like he's obviously leading you astray? And what will be the consequences of that? And, you know, the game introduces you to the sheriff relatively early on. And it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like it set me up to think that, like, we could be like any sort of like cowboy. You know, we could be like black hat or white hat or some sort of intermediate like ruffian with a troubled past. And like that idea really appealed, especially when the notion seemed to be that we would just like live in like a Western town and do adventure game stuff. But like as the game went on, you know, like we embark on the road trip, and like the second the road trip starts, it like really drops like any pretense of like long-term consequences, because like these people that you're meeting along the way, they like can't possibly be at the end destination, right? Because they're just not there. So I don't know, like there's the consequence of losing money, but then like you get to the other end, and like even though the game kind of hints early on that money is like a resource you can use to circumvent puzzles that you're struggling with or not liking, like by the end it's really just a single gatekeeping instance. And as like Demolition read in one of the guides he was consulting, like apparently you can just sort of like ignore it, like you can just like not care about that, and like tell, like you can basically sell Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi's like cool hubcaps and be fine, you know? Which like, I don't know. It just, it's weird in that like the game early on kind of like tries to make you feel bad for just like trying stuff, whether or not you have good intentions. And like, it even like backs off on like the time stuff, like about halfway through. Like, again, it felt like the purpose of having like a bunch of time puzzles in it early on was because it wanted you to think fast and suffer like consequences if you weren't willing to be decisive. But like at the end of the day, like it just feels like there was a really significant shift partway through the game, and then like we've really moved away from any idea of consequences mattering, to the point that like one of the only consequences that really is significant in the late game, the game deliberately punishes you for taking an interest in any particular character or their backstory by making sure that you can't have that person with you or get a satisfying conclusion to their story. It's just, it's really, really strange to me, the way that this game decides to go about doing what it wants. Like, I feel like it started with a reasonably strong thesis statement, ultimately realized that it would be hard to execute on that, completely changed gears into the type of game it wanted to be, and then realized that that game had no clear ending, and so kind of rushed a conclusion that felt a little more like the beginning, but without any of its strengths. Like, that's the impression I get playing through Rosewater. And maybe the worst part about that is, even though things like the timed elements to the puzzles are not something that I resonate very strongly with, I think if they had committed strongly to that, they could have had an interesting and unique game. If we had gone for like kind of a morality system where consequences mattered and done like a kind of an RPG adventure game in that way, that could have been interesting. If we had done like a posse RPG thing, like a lot of us thought the game was doing, where like having all these NPCs traveling with you, like you could commit to like a small group and like use their skills to solve puzzles instead of using strictly inventory items, like that again could have been like an interesting and unique thing. But like at the end of the day, it tried a bunch of stuff and didn't commit to any of it. And so what it ended up doing was like making an adventure game that wasn't really committed to being a particularly good adventure game, and like jammed a bunch of ideas that it didn't really commit to or execute, and just sort of padded out the runtime. I've certainly played worse adventure games, but like it's just the longer it goes on, the worse it feels, because no matter what you liked about the experimental stuff early on, you just don't get any more of that. And the puzzles start seeming really like arbitrary and or convoluted toward the end. You did get a vignette. I assume you're referring to the fact that I got a little sketch of Nadine in the wagon. That did happen. And like at least she got a good ending or something. And you could lockpick once. Yeah, like what was that about? Like there was a whole like lockpicking minigame that literally exists once. But like there's clearly like information in the game to support at least like 4 different types of lockpicks. Like, it's really weird. It's just a really weird game in general. And it's kind of surprising in the sense that, like, Lamplight City is arguably a prequel to this. It's not really a direct prequel to this, but it's essentially a prequel to this. There's a lot that carries over from that narrative, and even some of the characters cross over in, like, overt and subtle ways. But, like, that game was pretty committed to being a standard point-and-click adventure game, but had some really cheeky ideas to make it a little bit more choose-your-own-adventure novel. And it wasn't, like, a tectonic shift or anything like that, but it added a lot of depth to the game. And, like, because it had a solid foundation of being just, like, a pretty competent, like, point-and-click adventure game, the fact that it, like, spiced it up a little was enough to make it pretty unique and refreshing. But then, like, Rosewater, like, it just felt like it didn't take any of the correct lessons away from that. Like, it didn't build on the things that were good about Lamplight City. Like, the narrative's fine. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but, like, the story is consistent through the two of them. And if you like the whole aethericity, vaguely steampunk thing, then, like, that continues to be good. But, like, mechanically speaking, like, it just sort of ignores, like, all the things that Lamplight City was doing and tries to do some new things, but doesn't commit. It just doesn't commit to them. You have to commit. It's one of the few things I've legitimately said for years. You really have to commit to the bit. It's not a bad game. It's definitely not. I think here's the thing.
Not sure what blowing on that will achieve.
I think if Rosewater existed in a vacuum, it would be just, like, kind of forgettable and a little frustrating at times. It sort of existing in relation to Lamplight City, which I liked a lot, ends up making me like it less because I know that they're capable of more. And I'm not sure what would have happened during production to sort of change gears so strongly, but, like, I don't know. I think it just really undermined what like momentum we had at the start of this game. Anyway, that's Rosewater. I was really excited for Rosewater, and it's genuinely not a bad game. I want to be clear about this. I complain a lot about games, and I think there are a lot of things to legitimately complain about with Rosewater. Rosewater is not a bad game. I just had high expectations, and I feel like while I was up here and reasonable expectations would be here, they kind of undershot, like, down here. And so I think even if my expectations weren't pretty high going in, I'd still be somewhat disappointed. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot good here. As my mom says, really enjoyed the character interactions up through the end of the travel segment. Yeah, and, like, I like that felt like it was building towards stuff. Like, you know, I think there was some subconscious sense on my part that we were, like, building relationships that the game was tracking. I think I would have expressed hope that, like, that would have changed the nature of puzzles at the end of the game in a constructive way, rather than writing out your favorite character. It's such a weird choice. Like, while I think the failure to commit to their own, like, speculative mechanics is a major issue at the game, one of my biggest personal gripes is, as, like, a writer, is, like, that just seems like an insane choice to me. That they're like, okay, so, like, the entire second act of this game is largely just you traveling with these companions and, like, forming relationships with them through the decisions that you make. And then whoever you like, you don't interact with them ever again for the rest of the game. That's just insane to me. That's, like, the weirdest choice you could make. And it's, like, a strong choice that I think is bad. Okay, so here's where we're at. That took us about 2 hours. I downloaded, and I think I have blueprints ready. It is probably going to require me to restart OBS I think that we will do that, and I think we'll do Squirtle at the end of that segment. So for those of you watching this in the future, hi, hello, it's me, Big Vasco. This has been Rosewater. I hope you've enjoyed the journey to some extent. There's no me so far here, which is of course in and of itself disappointing. But there's a lot to like here, and I feel like I would definitely be interested in more games by this developer, but I would like to see them commit more strongly to their ideas. I'm really not sure what happened here, but I think they can and hopefully will do better. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. And I hope to see you again soon. Those of you watching Twitch, we're gonna hop right into something else in a couple minutes once I get it booted up. Notable to everyone, present and future, next Friday, my expectation is that we will start playing Old Skies, which is another hotly anticipated 2025 graphic adventure release. This is by the Unavowed developers behind Unavowed, and it is a time travel story. And from the various clips I've seen throughout its development, it seems like it must necessarily be 900,000 hours long. I have no idea how long the game is, or if maybe there's just like infinite parallel possible things to discover. But like, I have just seen like a gajillion GIFs and images from that game. I can't imagine how they all fit into the same game. But we'll find that out together next week. In a moment, we'll switch over to Blueprints, which is the current hotness. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves and remember that you are Clawsome.